Hello everybody! For today's video, I'm going to be answering this question. Can the Juno & Co. Microfiber Velvet Sponge really be a competitor to the all-famous Beauty Blender? So if you would like to see that, just keep watching. Alright, so I've already primed my face and I am going to use products that I just typically use, ones that I really enjoy right now. So for my primer, I have used the Tatcha Silk Canvas all over the face to try and make it a uniform competition. Everybody gets a chance here. We're going to start off with the Beauty Blender, and this is just a completely new, freshly washed Beauty Blender right here. And for foundation, we are going to be using the Huda Beauty Fox Filter Foundation. The Beauty Blender side today is going to be this side right here. All right, and then with the Beauty Blender once more, I'm going to go ahead and put some concealer as well. Beauty Blender side is done. If you're not familiar with this sponge quite yet, there has been several very popular beauty gurus who have done a video on this sponge. Some of the top ones that I watch is like Kathleen Lights and Nikki Tutorial, so if you want to check that out, you can see that as well. Just look it up. They're great videos, of course. I love them. But what this is a cosmetic sponge that you can use dry or wet, just like any other sponge. But it has this velvet on the outside, and it legitimately feels like velvet. As far as comparison to the Beauty Blender, it got wet with the same amount of water that the Beauty Blender does, very quick and easy. The only thing is it feels a little bit more dense than the Beauty Blender, like the spring back with it. There's, oh gosh, it's already so dirty. There's the Beauty Blender, and then, I don't know if you can tell, it's just, the Beauty Blender bounces back a lot more. It's a lot more squishy. And this one is just a little bit more dense. Now, I've heard that it creates a really, really beautiful finish, so I'm so excited to see that. And you can use it dry or wet, but for today's video, I'm just going to be using it in the wet format. Well, first off, without even barely starting, I can tell that this is not soaking up the product that the Beauty Blender does, because I went in exactly with the same amount on my hand that I did with this side, and it's like, whoa, it's a huge layer versus what I thought was going to be the same amount of coverage that the Beauty Blender was giving me. So I'm going to have to take into consideration with that. So I'm going to really have to blend this out a little bit. So I have finished up both sides now, and the most evident thing that you can see without me blending in that center line quite yet is that I do have a more full coverage on the side where I use the Juno & Co. Microfiber Velvet Sponge. Now, I do like that. I don't have a problem with this coverage. I'm used to the amount of coverage that I get with the Beauty Blender. I still think it's a beautiful finish, but I'm going to see if you guys can see it with my face just closer to the camera. It's not going to be the best quality, but somehow, even though the Beauty Blender does a great job of applying foundation, the microfiber, the velvet, I don't know if it's just the way that it gets into your skin, but of course without setting it, both sides are starting to like seep into areas, but it just looks smoother in texture. Like over here on this side, I can still see a lot of the texture that I have on my skin. And on this side, it's almost like it's slightly disappeared. And that's really exciting. So I do want to go ahead before my makeup does set, because it's already starting to get stuck in those spots. I'm having to like go in with both and pat in my spots where it likes to settle. I would like to go ahead and finish my makeup completely. That way I can get set, see how it settles in the end, finish all of my makeup, and come back and give my full-on opinion. But so far in the race, I'm happy with the Beauty Blender. I always love it. but this one is giving it a run for its money. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. Yeah, so we'll see. Just give me one sec. Hello again, everybody. So I, of course, finished my face. I also changed my shirt because it didn't go with my lipstick. And I wanted to come back and talk to you about what I thought about the two sponges against one another. So to start off with the Beauty Blender, I've never really talked about my thoughts about the Beauty Blender, but if you know from my tutorials, I'm always using a beauty sponge to put my foundation on. And the Beauty Blender is definitely one of my favorites. As far as application for it, it always has a very even finish. The foundation goes on really nicely. And compared to a lot of other sponges, it's great as far as not soaking up your product. So I really do love this sponge. It has a really nice give, super soft on the skin, and you can do a lot with just this one sponge. Now, as far as the, whew, man, look at that one. Look at all that product. Ooh. As far as the Juno & Co. Microfiber Velvet Sponge, this one was really, really awesome. I would say that whenever you apply even the liquid products, because this is where I applied the liquid, the entire time that you are applying it, it feels dry. Like it still feels like this velvet dry feeling. So compared to the Beauty Blender, it is a little bit weird just in if you're used to something like that. But the application itself is not affected by that. It creates a really, really nice smooth finish. And as far as my opinion on the Beauty Blender, yes, it creates a smooth finish, but I think that the velvet sponge takes care of texture more. And I don't know if that's because I felt like I got an even more full coverage out of the velvet sponge, but it was a really, really nice finish on the skin. I didn't feel like I was seeing all of the texture on my skin like I could still see with the Beauty Blender side as well. And now that my makeup is completely done, set in, everything is finished, I still just think that I basically got a more full coverage with this sponge to start off with. And I do think as well that the texture, you can still see that I don't have as much texture, especially on the side of my face where I can typically see it, and I can still see it over this way as well. But you can still see a little bit of my freckles there, and this side you can't. As far as the makeup setting, it all set about the same. Now, longevity-wise, I might be able to tell a difference after a while, but at least right here from the get-go, right after I applied the product, I don't see a huge difference in how the makeup is setting on my face other than the texture. So, what I would say is that in comparison with the two of them, they are both great sponges still. I would use either one of them tomorrow again, of course. But the big thing that I have is that the Beauty Blender is $20 and the Juno & Co. sponge is $6. That was a moment for us to all think about that. I'm saving so much more money with this one. And if you like the more full coverage, then you're going to get that with the sponge. So I would say that as far as if you're looking to get the better deal, the Juno & Co. sponge would be that. But if you need a sponge and you need to go to the store to pick up the sponge, then paying the extra couple dollars to have the Beauty Blender is well worth it too. But the Juno & Co. sponge is my winner for this little competition. The only other thing I wanted to say is that as far as the Juno & Co. sponge, how it was delivered, what came with it, it was $6 online. It did take a little while to get here, several weeks actually for it to be delivered, but I wasn't really worried about that. It's not something, I don't order a sponge because I desperately need it now. I can always go to the store if I needed it. So waiting wasn't really a problem for me. And it came in this little package right here that on the back says, if you're looking for a more natural airbrushed foundation finish, the Juno Microfiber Velvet Sponge is your go-to. Made with velvet soft microfiber bristles and a slanted edge for controlled stippling, the Juno Microfiber Velvet Sponge provides buildable coverage fast. So that is what it says right there. It's latex free, cruelty free, and it also came with a little booklet right here about do's and don'ts for whenever you use it wet and whenever you use it dry, and then also how to clean it. So that right here, this little booklet is one thing that I almost threw away on accident, but it's really does, if you read through it, it's really got some great tips as far as what to do whenever you use it and how to clean it so that you don't get it torn up and everything. So I'm anxious to see how long this lasts me, and of course I will continue to use my Beauty Blender sponge because I love that one as well, but I definitely think that this is a great one to get. If you yourself have tried the Juno & Co. sponge, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to chat with you about what you think about the sponge or any tips that you have as far as how you have used it to apply your products. I would love to know. Have you tried it dry? Because I have not tried it with any dry products yet. Let me know what you think. We can definitely have a conversation down in the comments below. And if you really like this video, also give it a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you want to make sure that you can see all of my content whenever it comes up on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you can click the little bell icon beside the subscribe button, and that will notify you each time that I upload a video. So that is all, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.